I think it will jump in the charts because of that. And these are the current charts. The Galaxy S9 Exynos holds the record for round 1. So let's see if we can beat it with the OnePlus 6. Okay, so let's begin in 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to start with the social media applications, just launching those. Those are some of the ones you're going to open many times per day. And right away, I mean, you can see these guys are off to a very fast start, just powering through them. They're keeping pace very well. I could tell that the OnePlus 6's animations are very short, very quick. The iPhone's definitely more drawn out, but it's easier to go home just swiping up instead of having to bring up that little bar every single time and then clicking home. So I do like that about the iPhone, having the gestures there. But once the OnePlus 6 does get Android P, it's going to get all the same gestures, well, very similar, so you won't have to worry about that bottom bar any longer. And I do wonder how this test would have went if I was running that in the later stages. You know, if I ran it right now, it'd be pretty unstable, not very fast, I think. As you guys can see, pretty much the same spot on both of these. They're like playing a game of tag, just going back and forth between them. The OnePlus 6 pulls forward a little, then the iPhone right behind it, but both are doing very well. Very proud of both of these. iOS 11.4, in my opinion, loads things a little bit better. It's just smoother. The RAM management to me personally seemed better. That's why I chose it for this video, and I think the results will speak for themselves. So the iPhone starts to pull ahead a little bit, and the OnePlus 6 again right behind it. I definitely think that the folks over at Qualcomm outdid themselves with the Snapdragon 845. Compared to the 835, I'm noticing such a massive difference in the OnePlus 6. This paired with their shortened animations, it really means good things for this phone. And comparing it to Apple's A11, it's so close. I feel like next year it'll be there. So, all right, this is the video editing portion. We've got about a minute and a 30-second 4K video, same size, same bitrate on both, same application that we're using to edit it. Of course, I got to import it and then export it into the camera roll. And this video editing portion here is where the OnePlus 6 overtook the iPhone. Something about the optimization and handling of 4K video, the Snapdragon 845 certainly does it better, and it pushed ahead and actually finished round 1 with a very quick 2 minutes and 21 seconds. In case you didn't remember, that's a record for this channel. That beats the Exynos version of the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. So the iPhone 10 finishes with a record fast 2 minutes and 34 seconds for the iPhone 10 series. I mean, much faster than the last version on the earlier iOS versions. Actually going through round 2, you can see the iPhone 10 is struggling. Many of the applications in the beginning needed to be reloaded, and you got to sit there and wait for them to go again. And this right here, this is a day-to-day problem on the iPhone 10. Personally, I just think it doesn't have enough RAM. Either that or the RAM optimization has become poorer in iOS 11, so Apple definitely needs to fix that in iOS 12. But in this test, everything after Asphalt was preloaded. It basically resets after what, like 10-15 applications, and then it forgets the RAM, clears the cache on that app, uses those resources for the more current tasks. Anyways, we finished up with a 53-second round 2 on the iPhone 10 and 29 seconds on the OnePlus 6, which is also a record for round 2. And next up, I wanted to satisfy a curiosity. How fast is an iPhone 10 without any animations, which are currently a little drawn out, could be shortened certainly. So I initiated a glitch on iOS 11 currently to remove them, and really right away you can see the speed demon releases on the iPhone 10. It's just supercharged. Apps open and close right away, there's no delay, and all of the time that you were sitting there waiting for the animation to happen, you no longer have to do that. So I definitely see the difference here. It's not pulling ahead yet. The OnePlus 6 is still keeping pace, but just you wait. And knowing Apple, we will never get a switch to remove animations. It's something about Apple's heritage that they need to have some sort of animations, even though back in the day on the original iPhones, it seemed like the animations were almost quicker. They were kind of crisp. I liked how the apps would bounce in from the sides. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but it would be so handy to have a switch to remove the animations. And what we currently have to reduce motion isn't enough. Not enough changes when you click it. So at this point in time, the iPhone 10 is just going to start tearing off from here as it's going to launch the applications faster. These are the lighter ones, so they don't have too much to load, and the animation is half the battle basically. Imagine opening an application and not having to wait anymore, especially if it's loaded in the background for that 1 second animation to happen. Here here is where we really see the effects of not having those animations, as we're already on a video editing application, importing that, and I was very impressed to see that the iPhone X was pulling ahead so far. The OnePlus 6, nothing really changed on it, still has the same processor, still has the same RAM, still is very quick, but the iPhone X really pulled ahead here. Oh, and I wanted to mention that in a day and age when most smartphones have at least 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM, 3 gigabytes for Apple just isn't cutting it. That's why the new iPhones later this year are rumored to come with 4 gigabytes. So we just finished up round 1 with a 1 minute and 54 second. That takes the cake. That's the absolute fastest score I've ever gotten on this channel, and I can't really count it because it doesn't count. It's a glitch, but still, it definitely goes to show you that if those animations weren't there, if Apple did something about them, the iPhone X could be an absolute speed demon straight out of hell. And for some reason, on round 2 without the animations, there were more apps that didn't need to be reloaded versus the last round. It didn't make any sense. What difference does the animation make on that? But it's true, there were like 3 less apps this time around that I didn't have to reload, and that definitely gave me slightly faster of a score, although not very much. And with that, we finish up round 2 with a super fast 49 seconds. Could have been much faster if some of those apps didn't need to be reloaded. Either way, impressive. Seriously, what a good time to be an Android user. The OnePlus 6 is the second Android phone to beat an iPhone in the speed test, and officially now the fastest Android phone I have ever tested on this channel in both round 1 and round 2. Bravo, OnePlus, you have done it. A chart topper indeed. Next up, let's go ahead and clear the app switchers here and do a startup shutdown test. And here we go in 3, 2, 1. So this is Android versus iPhone, and there are no carrier screens here, so I feel like this might even be faster. Zoom enabled, we're so close on both of them, and the iPhone was the first one here. So OnePlus isn't too far behind. And next up, let's do some synchronized app launching. This is face-to-face without the actual real-world portion in there. Let's just launch these side by side. 1, 2, 3. Snapchat, faster on the OnePlus 6, I believe. Instagram, 1, 2. OnePlus 6 loaded it faster. And this is after a full reboot. None of these were open in the background here. So let's keep going. Camera, 1, 2. This is their respective stock camera apps, about the same. Google Maps, 1, 2. OnePlus, wow. Photoshop Express, 1, 2. And the iPhone opened this one up faster. Let's try and export on both. This is a 8K image, so 1, 2, 3. iPhone does that one a little bit faster. So moving on, let's go ahead and get some actual numbers with a Geekbench and then Antutu. And here are those numbers. It doesn't look too impressive when it's laid out in front of you like that, but the performance in the day-to-day tasks, it speaks for itself, really. You've got 8 gigabytes of RAM. That is what's doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to reloading the apps in the background. The results are in. Let's see the breakdown. CPU overall gets a lower score. Interesting. GPU on this thing is massively overperforming over the iPhone X. And overall, wow. All right, you guys already know, this is a battle of Face ID versus the Face Unlock biometrics. Let's go ahead and lock the phones. And then in 3, 2, 1. Boom, it is just instant on the OnePlus 6. There is no animation, no input needed.